What did they do right? What did they do wrong? I know you want to know. Just a word as a reminder that whenever we do one of these sample student papers, these are actual documents produced by actual students who have taken the same class that you have. The other thing to know is that quite often these are the ones they did before they revised, if they did revise at all. I don't really remember because I keep all of this stuff completely and utterly anonymous. But we have these things so you can break down the assignment. You can break down someone else's work and hopefully develop a little bit more better critical perspective for yourself. So, with that said, let's dive in. Before we get into the actual student sample, let's take a minute to go back and think about the jobs of the three separate application documents. The job posting is what the potential employers are looking for, the skills they desire. Your resume is a listing of everything that you can bring to the table. And the job of the letter of application is to connect the two. I can do this for you because I have done this. We're going to look at all three documents because paying some attention to all three documents is really important. And we're not just going to glance at them, we're going to really tear them apart a little bit, really search them. This is a banking operations job, temp and direct hire, Leafstone Financial Industries, New York, New York. You can read it all here, and you've seen it from the assignment. This is a typical kind of financial services job. So let's break it down. What we're doing here is not just looking at it to get a vague idea. We're specifically going to be looking for keywords. And when I say keywords, I mean the kind of things that you could tie to transferable skills. Push it back to that video. The kind of we're looking for words that you can use to describe things that you have already done in the past. So let's go a bit in depth. Consulting. If you ever have practice moving from one job to another, if you've ever had experience working for a bunch of different people, this would be a good way to think about the whole consulting game. When I worked at Little Caesars Pizza for a while, I was the guy who they kept sending to stores that were in trouble. My job was to help get them cleaner, get them more efficient, get them working properly, and then they'd send me to the next place. It's that same kind of thing at work in this particular job. Consulting means the ability to adapt to new circumstances. Working independently. There's something to be said for working in teams, but there's also something to be said for not needing constant direction. Can you think of when you were at jobs or doing tasks that didn't require someone to stand over you the whole time? And how well were you able to proceed in such a circumstance? Investigations. Investigation seems like another good word for research for me. It definitely takes that critical analysis mindset and pushes it toward whatever your subject is. Researching. Researching and investigation seem to go hand in hand again. And this is something that you can definitely tie your schoolwork to as well. Processing entries and data, filling out forms, entering information. If you've ever worked counter at a Little Caesars Pizza, you've done a certain amount of this. If you've ever done inventory, you've done a certain amount of this. You see what we're doing here? We're trying to find words in here that we can use to describe things we've already done. Organizational skills is another great buzzword to look for. I don't mean buzzword negatively here. I mean, this is the kind of thing that they're going to be looking for. It's language specifically that they use, so you should be using some of these terms somewhere within your own documents. Handling the settlement process. Settlement tends to evoke images of conflict resolution. Think about how you can apply that to past jobs. Identifying and implementing procedural change. This is another good way of saying fixing things. Have you ever had a job where you've had to do that kind of stuff, where you had to fix processes? Document all processes. Kind of goes in with the processing entries and data and the research skills. Writing stuff down and having stuff searchable is a key part. Researching comes up again. Should you include researching in your information? Yeah. Excel? Well, it, I generally tell people that saying that you can use Microsoft Office isn't really going to put you that far ahead of the curve. But I think that one of the big exceptions there is Excel. If you can do more than just the basic Excel, that's going to put you a step up on most other applicants. So it might be a very wise idea to take some extra Excel training. If you can say you have a certificate in advanced Excel generation or whatever, it might be something that really helps you. So, this is what the people are looking for. Let's look to see what this particular job applicant brought to the party. Get a bit more up close. First, does this look all that exciting? Is this going to jump out at you in any way, shape, or form? It's one font all throughout. It's orderly, yeah, but is it particularly interesting at all? You're missing a real opportunity if your document doesn't grab their attention. You have to do your job application stuff as if you're going to be one of about 80 million people applying for the job, and it's your role to try to stand out above the crowd. Because I'll tell you, if I'm looking at applications and I see 20 that look just like this, none of them are going to stick in my mind at all. One of the best things to do in terms of design is to go to YouTube and start doing a search to see what people are doing for resumes. You can get some really good ideas that way. Profile. Does this work as a profile? Does it help? Okay, bilingual English and Polish. Is Polish really going to help you? Leadership roles, including supervisor at place of work and heads of the committee and student government. Leadership is a good thing, and I think there's lots of stuff that can be pulled out of here specific to what was on the job posting. Researching, initiating change, blah blah blah. All that's good, but here it's just kind of touches on it and then goes away. This is stuff that I expect to see a lot better worked out through the course of the application material. Well trained and experienced with computers, as well as many office programs such as Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. As I was saying, an advanced certificate in some of these is going to do more than just, hey, I can use Word. We all can use Word at this point. Work well in a group environment as well as working on projects alone when needed is about as generic as you can humanly imagine. I can't picture what this means. If they're spelling it out for me with examples, then that would be a good thing. As it is, this profile thing, this doesn't really work as a functional resume because it doesn't spend enough time or give me enough specific examples there. It's not the most impressive thing on here. So why is it up top? You should probably lead with your best stuff. So what's the best stuff here? That's one thing to think about. Are you going to be able to better sell yourself with education or work experience? Whichever one that is should be up top. Cumulative GPA of 3.0. Now, honestly, there's nothing wrong with a 3.0 grade point average. The problem is it's not really exceptional. My general rule of thumb is that if you're 3.5 or above, that's exceptional. And it's not just me. If you graduate with honors, that's 3.5 or above. If you graduate with high honors, it's 3.75 or above. 3.0 is a B. It's nice, but it's not bragging rights. Now, some fields will tell you that you need to put your GPA on regardless. And if someone in your field tells you differently than what I'm telling you when you get out into the job market, listen to the experts by all means. But in general, I don't put anything on here that doesn't look like it's going to work in my favor. That's not going to push me up over the edge. Let's look at the letter of application now. We can make the same kind of points that we did last time about the looks of the document. I don't really think we need to here because there's a lot of other important stuff to mention. Now, you read the introduction carefully. They say I am interested in an entry level job. That will help make me take my first steps in my field of choice I'm currently studying for in college. This is a very long sentence without really no specifics, and this is a problem because One of the things you're supposed to do in the intro is make it clear what specific job you're asking for. I'm applying for job X as advertised in Y. There's like, hey, hire me for something that I like. Well, you need to be more specific than that. And two, an entry level job, I'm not going to search for you. Three, I am interested in a job that will help me. Do the people who are looking at your application really care if it will help you? They're more interested in what you can do for them than what they can do for you. Second, we go on to the body paragraphs. And the job of the body paragraphs, as I said before, is to directly connect applicant skill with the needs of the position. I can do this for you because I've done that. This one, as my resume outlines, I possess many skills that will help me become as successful as I can be in your company. Note 1. This is just saying, hey, I got a lot of stuff on my resume. Maybe you should look at that. Not very specific. 2. It again has the focus on this is what can help me rather than what can help the company. And 3, it's general. Many skills. What are they? I don't know. You have to be careful and spend time on these documents more than you'd think. If mishaps did occur and managers were not around, yeah, I know it's a typo. You know it's a typo. But if I'm doing the job, if I'm doing the hiring for this company and I see someone who couldn't even look for typos, that's probably going to be a mark against them. I can also work solo. Okay, prove it to me. Do they? Please feel free to call me at any time. Now, one of the things that I've said is you don't want the person to have to work to be interested in you and to find you. You should leave a call to action. I'm very interested in talking to you. Please call me at this number. Yeah, I know the phone number's at the top, but do you really want the person who's doing the hiring to look for that information, or do you want to shove it right there in their face? I vote for the latter. I hope that helped give you some idea as to what students tend to do right and what students tend to do wrong on these. Of course, the best advice is to try to learn something from this person and apply that lesson to your own writing. And the more you can do that, the more you're going to be able to really pump up your writing before you get to the point of turning it in. See you in the next video.